Don't know why. That. Mic check. Can anyone hear us now?
I do enjoy when these podcasts start like this.
You think we've been doing this for like a long time, 2 years. You think we'd be good? You think we'd be good at this by now, eh? But we're not. The thing is, we're just mostly terrible all the time. But audio's back. I'm going to hold my hands up and say that wasn't me. This is all related to the problems we had a fortnight ago when forces outside our control stopped us. But anyway, we're back now.
Well, let's start again. Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Yeah, all good.
Kev doesn't know if it is to be miserable or not.
No, exactly. This is weird.
I like that, Kev, but you couldn't hear us, but Kev said it's good to be back to proper football. I'm not sure what we saw on Saturday constitutes proper football, but we'll come on to that. We can come on to that.
I didn't mean proper football in that way. I mean proper football in the football you actually care about, rather than that shite that had been on previously. Anyway, Tam, where's your bucket hat?
He's forgot. Tam's trying to say that he's got a bucket hat that fits his head. Look at that head. Is that an orange on a toothpick? There's absolutely no chance he's got a bucket hat for that.
Annoyingly, that's a better line than you said the first time.
Yeah, that's what happens when you get a second chance, Tam. You get better than what it was. What's been happening, Thomas? Are you all right?
I'm good, aye. All right. I obviously missed a couple of weeks, so...
How was Georgia?
Great. I don't even know where Georgia is, mate, so I wasn't there.
Fair enough.
Well, just to remind, for anybody that doesn't know or needs reminding, he spent the whole time watching Scotland slagging every Hearts player, saying how shite they were and saying how good all the old Hibs players were, the Celtic players, so that he loves them but hates the Hearts players, so it tells you everything you need to know about Thomas. Ando, what's been happening?
Nothing, man. I may as well have just sat here the entire 2 weeks since we last spoke. Absolutely nothing, just grafting away at work. And I haven't been back to Tynecastle, which coincides with, I suppose, the hot streak that we're on.
I was going to say with our best forms in 5 years.
And I've not
been there. So.
Exactly, I've not been near a game in ages. So there you go. Read from that what you will.
And just so we can check, you're definitely not going to Rugby Park on Saturday, are
you? No, I think that'll be me done between now and the new year. Unfortunately, or actually, fortunately, let's say. Stevie Naismith's probably got me to thank for him being kept in a job. Aye. So fine, Stevie. Just send half your wages to me. That's fine.
Everybody on YouTube that's listening, watching along, hello. Hope you can hear us. Get involved. Tonight we'll do. Kev's going to give us his top 10. We'll get a tam down with Ando. He's going to take us through that. We'll go through some headlines. Obviously, we just talked about our hot streak that we've been on. Talk about Shankland's hot streak as well. Some decent news on the injury front. Some key players very close to returns, but it's in Hearts fashion. So let's wait and see how long that actual lasts. Talk about obviously a toy drive. Loads of toys donated, money raised and stuff on Saturday by Big Hearts. So fair play to everybody that was involved. And then we'll obviously talk about the game. Hearts 1, St Johnstone 0 on Saturday, and then we'll preview Saturday's game away to Kilmarnock. Sound good, boys?
None I'd rather be doing.
Exactly. Not what else you got to be doing on a Monday night.
Fuck all.
Exactly. Right. Anything I've not yet so far other than that you can't hear us, Sam?
Nah, not really. Just you saying Nazy out already. Great.
Well, they said that we were as quiet as the Nazy out brigade, don't they?
Oh, okay.
That we've disbanded, managed to beat the 3 worst teams in the fucking league.
Keep the powder dry.
There it is.
I'm only joking. Right, Ando, let's do a
right, good
down.
stuff. Right, everybody, hands on your heads or shoulders or whatever.
Wait, let me move the screen. Sorry. There you go.
Right, good on.
I want to cheat.
Right, okay, nice one. So I quite liked Kev's tam down that we done a couple of weeks ago, and unfortunately I didn't have the time to come up with anything as good as that. But I then also enjoyed your one about the first time you'd went to Motherwell. So I've done the same thing. This is the first time I ever went to Dunfermline, away, right? And it was one of the, I think probably one of the last grounds for me to get to, right? What are you shaking your head at?
I just
loving Tom's face. Tom knows perfectly well he's got.
Well, I was going to say it's helpful. I'm not going to give you the exact date, but I'll tell you the season, right? So the season is 06-07 season, right?
Oh, that's all right.
So it's in fairly recent memory for you. So I could have picked somewhere that, like, the first time I went, you probably weren't even born. When were you born?
92.
Excellent, right, okay, I'll remember that for next week. But aye, it was a 1-0 victory Dunfermline, at Dunfermline away, East End Park, in the 06-07 season. So, starting 11
the year,
and
the
subs.
year after Hearts stopped being utter shite,
Yep.
Tam started following them. Glory hunting season.
There we go, that's it.
Okay, there we go.
So, in order to make this a little bit more entertaining, I'm going to let Tam go first. So, unusually kind. So, Thomas, one of the starting 11 or the 7 substitutes, if you will.
7.
Craig Gordon.
Craig Gordon, correct. Corbett, you're next.
Steve Banks.
Well, hey, there we go. It was the substitute keeper. Kev.
Roman Bednar.
Again, yes, it was a substitute, not used. Well done. Thomas.
Michael Pospisil.
Yes, he scored the winning goal. And incidentally, for this game, I couldn't even get into the Hearts end because there was 3 of us went. East End Park, Hearts away, and was sold out, so we had to sit in with the home fans, which was interesting. Anyway, Corbett, you're next.
Try to think of it because it's that horrible Yukio Bankis top thing.
Uh-huh.
The one after their decent effort.
Stephen Presley was not involved. Kevin.
Jankauskas.
Jankauskas was also not involved. Back to Tam.
Vlad flew.
He'd probably been boxing them all or whatever. In fact, it was Bednar that he fought, wasn't it? All right?
Yeah.
Right, cool. Right, Tam, over to you.
Robbie Nielsen.
Robbie Nielsen, correct. He was in the starting 11.
Listen to you crawl out his arse, Tam. Fuck's sake.
Right. Corbett, over to you.
Yeah, his poster in the background of the Tampa Bay bench shots or whatever the fuck he's the manager of now. Absolute buzzing.
Oh.
Paul Hartley.
Aye, Paul Hartley was indeed playing starting 11. Kev, excuse me.
Takis Fisas.
Yes, he was a used substitute. So well done, Tam. Incidentally, you're in the league still, by the way.
Used substitute. Takis Fisas was like up there as one of the best players we've ever had. A fucking used substitute.
Shocking,
against Dunfermline.
Did they want to expose him?
The recently retired Mikolas.
Yes, I've just noticed I can't see your hands either, you cheating bastard, so get them up.
He's reading the YouTube comments. He does it all the time.
Corbett.
Andrew Driver.
Absolutely correct. Was in the starting 11. Kev.
Julian Brellier.
His actual name is Julian Brollier. We've covered this before. But no, he was not involved. Thomas.
Bruno Aguiar.
Correct. Well done. This is, boys, you're going to have to get your finger out here. Tam's in danger of winning this. Right, Corbett, you're next.
He's recently retired, living on Cammy Devlin's face.
What?
Jamie Moe.
I know what he's coming at. Jamie.
Oh, Christ.
Who?
Jamie Moe.
Oh, God, right. I never made the connection. No, Jamie Moe is not there. It's been lasered off. Right. Over
Callum Elliott?
Callum Elliott, yes. He was in the starting 11.
How sad is that, man?
I know. It was quite. By the way, it was a disaster their performance as well. They only squeaked at 1-0. Tam. 2 points ahead of the other two, no pressure, and there are 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 answers to go.
Because he's just picking all the famous ones.
Lee Wallace?
Oh, there he is. He's got it. Lee Wallace was there. Corbett,
so
you're next.
Lee Wallace must have played left back, didn't he? So Backus on the bench, benched with Lee Wallace playing in front of him. Jeez Louise.
Told you it was a murderous performance.
Stephen Presley wasn't playing. Was Christoph Berra playing?
Christoph Berra was playing. Well done, Kev.
I'm trying to think who else would have played at centre half with.
I know, that's what I was just.
That's what I was struggling with as well.
Okay, because I'm having an absolute mare anyway. I go with Ibrahim Tal.
Ibrahim Tal, no, wasn't anywhere in the matchday squad. I don't even know if was he there at that particular time. Don't know.
He would have been.
Would he? Right,
Would
okay.
it
No, that's a swing and a miss. So there's only one outfield. Only one of the starting 11, is still left to get. And you've got 4 substitutes that you still need to get. So Tam, over to you.
Pick at the centre half. Karapidis.
Karapidis was on the bench.
Jose Goncalves.
Jose Goncalves was not involved. Oh, good guess though.
Shepherd did himself.
Two of these players are obscure, right? So one of them is just a young laddie who I don't recall ever hearing about before, if I'm being brutally honest. The other one, I'm not gonna spoil it. And one of them's a curveball. I'm genuinely shocked. When I looked at the team line for this and thought, I can't even remember him playing, but he did play. He was on the bench. But right, who's next? Kev.
Wow. Yeah.
Difficult ones. These they're can be challenging. One of them's obvious. You should get it, but that's the one player left in the starting 11.
Kingston.
Aye.
No. It was his 15th appearance for Hearts. Right, back to you, Tam. 2 obscures and 1 surprise, and then 1 that you should really all get.
Start thinking about Lithuanians.
Well, there's one missed. We've not said Chesnauskas, so cheers, Kev.
No, it's not Chesnauskas. Get that, Ringy. Corbett, back to you. It is Big Sal, correct, yes. Absolutely, it was the final part of the starting 11. Right, so we've got 2 substitutes that were used. One of them, I'm going to start giving you clues now, I think.
No. Didn't give us clues yet.
No worries, until you're all chapping. Right, okay. Kev, your go.
Trying to think who might have been the sub-keeper.
It's already been said. It was Steve Banks.
We've done that.
Oh, I had Steve Banks, didn't we? Oh, because you've just saved me. Johnson? Egert Johnson?
Nope. Nowhere near. Tam?
Flipping hell.
Tough one, this.
Did you say flipping, Kev?
We've already lost our monetization
you
for this one. You
flipping motherfudger.
I've got Benny Useless.
Benny Useless? No, he wasn't there.
Yeah.
Corbett, any ideas?
So it'll be a young Scottish boy. Robislawn.
It's not him, no. Interesting. Kev?
The only other one I can think of around about that time, because he also played in Europe, was a boy John Neal. Neal or John?
Not him. Right, that's just went full cycle with no getting any of them, so I'm going to have to give you clues now. Right, so the first used substitute works for the BBC just now. He's a pundit.
Oh, Mikey Stewart.
It's not Mikey Stewart, no.
Oh, is it Neil McCann?
Corbett said it first. Yep, Neil McCann. That's right. Oh. At the ripe old age of 32. It was his 116th appearance. Right, so the next 2, I'll get the red arrows to do a fly by your house if you get any of these 2. You'll be doing very well.
Are they both young Scottish guys?
One of them is a young Scottish guy. Indeed, he was 18 years old at the time. hadn't made any appearances for us at that point and didn't in that game. I don't know if he actually even made an appearance for us. It's not someone I'm aware of. I'm normally good with these things, but I can't remember this guy at all. And the other guy, I'll help you out. He is a Lithuanian, and he was a used substitute. He came on for Mikalunas, and it was his 14th appearance.
Ivaskevicius?
Not Ivaskevicius.
Who was 28?
28?
He looked like a wee old man.
Philibaitis or something like that?
Pelibiter. No, it's not him.
Pelibiter. That's how you get pink eye, mate.
I don't think anyone that done more than like 15 appearances it's with the ones we've said.
Was Velika there?
He wasn't, no.
But he scored in that top though. He definitely scored.
Oh yeah.
So did Pena because that's unbelievable top for the unbelievable celebration and unbelievable goal. He's wearing a white version of that minging top. I'm sure we wore that white top that day too.
Uh-huh.
No,
yeah,
we didn't.
did.
We wore maroon.
No, we wore the white top that day. Yeah.
Right, Lithuanians. He's a wee old man. He looks like a wee old man. The fuck is he called?
He has like first initial or something, like first name.
Ivan Chevikus
is okay. It's one of the players that doesn't end with Chus.
Barasa.
That's it. Well done.
Barasa.
Nerais Barasa.
Did you say that was his 14th game?
His 14th game.
Bloody hell! I never even thought he actually played that often.
Right, and then the young lad who
young boys
probably never get. I'm going to check in the background actually if he actually made any appearances. Oh, he did. Okay, he played 6 games for us. This is his biggest game that he was involved in. A 1-0 victory at Hibs in the April of that year. Korobochka was the manager. Saliukas scored. Yep, aye.
Gordon Smith.
It's not Gordon Smith, no. And as I say, you'd be forgiven for not getting this guy because I genuinely have never heard of him. I just can't remember him at all. Looking after us, he went to Cowdenbeath on loan a couple of times, and then we actually sold him at Cowdenbeath. Shaba Laszlo got rid of him. He was freed by Cowdenbeath and ended up at Edinburgh United in December 2015. So, an ignominious career, I think you can say.
An absolute jobber then.
Exactly.
Right. Give us initials.
His first name begins with J and his surname begins with A.
No idea.
John Adams.
Close enough. John Armstrong. So, there you go. Not someone I've ever heard of.
Never.
Aye. There we go. Right, so the scores in the doors. In third place, bringing up the rear, is Kev on 3.
Just the way he likes it.
Right. And Corbett and Tam are tied for 7 each. But what we'll do...
So what we do now to get how many attended?
Well, I was going to say, we'll do a tie. Let's do a tiebreaker. Well,
Scott Wilson.
If you
Steve
can...
Crawford.
That's too easy, right? I'm gonna have to pick one, right? So not Stevie Crawford, and not Scott Wilson, right? Can you name the goalkeeper on that day? Because he did play for Hearts.
Wow.
In fact, there was a couple of ex-Hearts players in that team, as you probably figured out already. But the goalkeeper, probably the toughest one.
Played for Hearts, the goalkeeper.
Yep. Because outfield players, you had Mark Burchill, former Hearts player.
Aye.
Stevie Simmons was obviously playing for Dunfermline at that time as well. But the goalie.
It was your boy that was sub around 98.
What?
Like for 98 team, I mean. I can't remember who it is though.
I can't remember his name.
Had like blonde tips, didn't
Roddy McKenzie.
That's it. Well done. Corbett wins. Right, 8-7. Right, well done, Corbett. Well, that's the closest run thing we've had in a while. So tune in next week.
They had like Barry Nicholson or whatever he was called. Remember that guy? He used to always play amazing against us.
We had
joined Aberdeen, didn't he, or something after that?
They didn't. He wasn't playing in that game, but they also had Andy Todd and Jim Hamilton.
I knew Andy Todd was going to be there. I knew that was happening.
Dunfermline stalwart, but well done, well played. It was good that.
I think we should do my first game because that'd be fucking years ago and folk wouldn't know anything.
The 3 remaining people on this weren't alive, so and it was pre-war. The world was in black and white, so that's not really fair.
Exactly. Right. Well, you're going to give your top 10. So we said the last time we did the podcast or whatever for folk to give us. Obviously, with Shankland scoring, he'd scored 5 and 5. Now, as we do this, he scored 6 and 6 in the league. 11 league goals. He scored on international duty as well. We were talking about, he will score 50 goals for Hearts by the end of this season, becoming probably one of the quickest Hearts players to 50. Given that we've waited for Jamie Walker to get to 50, but he become the first player since Robbo to score 50.
That's right.
So we'd obviously said Shankland, where does he rank in the? Well, let's be honest, he's been here a season and a quarter. He's now our joint top European goal scorer, sitting beside Robbo. First goal scorer since Robbo to score more than 20 goals in a season. And like I said, he'll be the quickest to 50 probably since Robbo as well. So we're saying, where does he rank in the sort of best players that we've seen either in our lifetime or since the turn of the millennium? Just to let Tam have something to say in this. So, Kev, give us your 10, and then we'll jump in if there's any shockers or any surprise conclusions.
I must admit, some of the names have already been spoken about, given Ando's Tam down there, in all honesty. So my 10, which was actually quite tough given the fact that I've seen a few extra ones that would probably, a few would drop out of this to allow others in from pre-2000. But it was Craig Gordon. I've got a soft spot for Zaliukas, although he was always liable to a mistake or two. Takis Fisas even. Karapidis. Thomas Flogel, who just sneaked in because he left us just after 2000. Bruno Aguiar, Scatchell, Hartley, Mark De Vries, and Shankland.
Did you say Bruno Aguiar?
Yes, mate, I did.
Interesting. Did you make a team? Is that what you did there? Sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
No, I didn't make a team at all. I did think about a team, and you probably could actually put that into a team, given some of the players that are there. You could play a back three with Fisas, Karapidis, and Zal. Don't get me wrong. That wasn't the way I was planning it, but they would have to be there or thereabouts.
Surprised at Karapidis, to be fair.
Mate, I thought he was caviar. I genuinely thought he was a great player. Just the way he actually played in front of that sort of that back four, commanded everything. His passing ability was something we do not have at this moment in time.
Did he thread it through for Gary Glenn, or did he do the step over for Gary Glenn?
No, he thread it through for Gary Glenn. It's a great ball. So yeah, I think Scatchell and Hartley are probably automatics in most people's top 10 from 2000 onwards. So I probably don't think there's going to be a huge amount other than yours, Corbett, because that's going to be the wildest thing in the world. And I will say,
it's unpredictable.
Your favourite player of all time in a Hearts shirt, Mauricio Pinilla, didn't make it just because he didn't play enough games.
I didn't know we were having those type of rules.
So there you go. And yeah, as I say, looking at it as if you were to put that out as a team, I think they would actually do pretty damn well.
So what? Colin Cameron above Aguiar in front of Colin Cameron?
No, Cameron was my tough one. But again, Cameron was. I thought he left actually just before 2000 or in halfway through that year. So again, that was the reason for him not making the side.
Me, Gary Wells or Gary McSwiggan?
No, mate, definitely not. I didn't even put Andy Kirk in there. I know that might upset you as well.
Not going to talk about that anymore, are we? All the Hearts fans will cancel us because he had a song that they don't like. We know how upset Hearts fans get about that.
There is that, mate. There is that.
Right.
So
Cool.
That is my 10.
We'll post it. Tam will post it on social media. Let us know whether you agree, any surprise, omissions, anybody pick pretty much the same as Kev, etc. What I think we should do is have 3, right? Well, 4, since there's 4 years, that would make sense, Corbett. Right, we'll do 4 that are like top tier, like actual, just like almost sit above everybody else, because Craig Gordon is probably the greatest player that Hearts will ever produce. Probably one of the only players, I think, that genuinely sits in the world class bracket.
Mm-hmm.
Like at the height of his powers, he could have played for any side in the world. Genuine. I think Buffon probably only better than him, in my opinion. And that, obviously, we've seen him play in the Premier League, we've seen him play in the Champions League, we've seen him play with Scotland. It doesn't just stay unbelievable for Hearts. Like, he's been unbelievable everywhere he's went. So we'll pick our sort of player from each of our picks and have them have a God tier just for them. Do you want to pick your God tier player, or do you want to wait till you've heard everybody else's and then we'll discuss?
I mean, I could take the easy option there and I'll just take Gordon, because you're right, he's up there for me anyway. He's up there with guys like Buffon, possibly Schmeichel, as in Father Schmeichel, not the Casper younger one. He's definitely he's there or thereabouts. But no, I think the right thing to do is we'll wait till everybody's had their little bit, and then we can talk about God tier across those 4 teams.
I know it's Tam's job to monitor the YouTube, but I've just had a quick look at it, and Aaron 1874 is asking what? No Brollier?
No.
Is that the amount of games he played?
No, nothing at all. Just wasn't he good enough to get in that top 10?
Was your top 10 ordered or in order? No.
I didn't think at all.
Okay.
Not at all.
Brelli was superb, but he was only superb for that one season.
Yeah.
But then so were loads of us, so were loads of them, to be fair. But it reminded me when we were talking about goalkeepers and thinking about them, and you think about how spoiled for choice we've been with unbelievable goalkeepers, like, because Anthony Niemi was top tier as well, like genuine top tier.
Absolutely.
John McLaughlin was a good goalkeeper too. Steve Banks was a decent keeper, considering that he had to play understudy for as long as what he did. A good goalkeeper.
Scottish Cups and Hibs.
Kello was good as well. Yep. So decent. Right. Cool. Any questions or anything come up on YouTube, Tam, or is it just people?
Just answers to the quiz and Brolly at the moment. So
right. Cool.
Good.
So headlines as of 5 PM on Saturday. Hearts are 3 wins from 3. I think it's the first time we've won 3 games on the bounce since 2021, 2 years almost, or something.
Bit about that.
Kev kind of sums up where we've been over the past few seasons, isn't
it? I mean, it's crazy to think that is the case. And I know in the group chat earlier on, someone mentioned that for all that is 3 games on the bounce of wins, we should have done that back at the beginning of the season. We should have been talking about 3 or 4 wins on the bounce, given the teams that we had at the beginning of the campaign. So yes, it's good to see, but there's still a lot of work to be done. Let's put it that way, I think.
Yeah, I think we take the positives. It's been a while since we've had some positives. You take the wins, obviously. And there's a defeat in the cup, obviously, with a pretty shit performance. So you got to take that into consideration. Tam, do we have to take into consideration that we've beat the 3 worst teams currently on form in the league, or just take the 3 wins and move?
I think it's the latter, to be honest. Take them and move. There's been plenty of times where we've not done what we've been expected, and not been able to I know we kind of struggled the last 2 home games to break down this low block that Livingston and St Johnstone have put in front of us, but they're tough teams to go up against, so even though they're not in the best form at the minute, hard to beat, so take it, move on.
And if we win on Saturday versus Kilmarnock, it's the first time since 2018 we've won 4 games in a row. Are you seeing the green shoots of recovery?
Yes and no. I think we'll cover the game in more detail shortly, but I think there are green shoots of recovery, yes, but there are still many other things that I'm a little bit upset about. But as Tam says, you take the win, you move on, you address the negatives, and as long as those negatives are sort of ironed out over the course of the coming games, then I'll be happy. So yeah. Yes, 2 green shoots.
One thing I would say as well, which is impressive, is our defensive record for the last few games.
Yep, I think there's plenty positives in there, if I'm being brutally honest with you. Livingston, it was 1 gone on 6, we absolutely battered them. Actually, one of the things that we could talk about is our lack of goals at home. Naismith, one thing, and we've spoke about it in the community chat a couple of times, that I don't like, that's growing. I don't like that it doesn't acknowledge the fans after the game. That's starting to wind me up, especially given how much money we spend going to watch Hearts. For example, it's 30 quid to go on Saturday. You're talking 20 quid if you jump on a bus. There's 50 quid. It was 50 quid to go to Motherwell only a couple of weeks ago, and we'll be going to Aberdeen the following week. Season tickets, money, etc. Like what the Ultras donated about £600 worth of toys on Saturday. I think Big Hearts said they raised like about £1,000 in cash and a couple of £1,000 worth of toys. Like, fans plough their money in. The manager should be clapping them, whether he's annoyed that we wanted rid of him or not. He should be acknowledging the fans, the fact that they travel and the fact that they back the club. We had 18,800 or something at a game on Saturday. Pretty impressive stuff. He shouldn't be taking that for granted. So he needs to get out his sulk and start acknowledging the fans.
100%. And sorry, just to chime in on that, and I'm particularly qualified to speak about this because of the amount of money I fucking spent to get up there, right? Like, so obviously you've got people like myself that will travel like long distances in order to get there and spend a lot of money. I want a handshake after every game.
Right.
I want him across, up the stairs. Well done, Ando. Gives a high five or whatever.
See you next week.
Aye, exactly.
But I don't like the growing narrative that it's difficult to play at Tynecastle or that the fans need to be more patient. And I agree with the message. There was points of the game on Saturday I thought was absolutely ridiculous. Booed off at half time, mental. And then the booing of Benny 1-0 up. We're barely under any. We'll talk about the game in depth. We're never really under any real pressure for St Johnstone, and we're booing because would you want them to do? No one's moving in front, so we are impatient. But we've always been impatient. But fans could argue back. We've scored 7 goals in our 7 home games this season. When you take in that we scored 2 against Aberdeen, 2 against Hibs, like, we need to start scoring some goals. And you look at Saturday was another example of that. And the point I was saying about, yes, we beat the 3 worst teams in the league, but Livingston could have been a landslide, could have easily been 4, 5 or 6 if we had our shooting boots on. I think away to Motherwell, we played, I thought it was the best I've seen us play for a long time. We were well in control of that match, even at 2-1. And then for long periods of the game on Saturday, although not causing St Johnstone problems and panic stations, etc., we were well in control of the game for long periods of time on Saturday as well, albeit with very little cutting edge. So yeah, I think there's plenty of positives in there. I think one thing I would say is that we moaned to the first round of fixtures, 2 wins out of the opening 6 home games I think we played in the first round of fixtures. Need to be better this way around. Like, we have to, the teams that finish third in this league take care of their home games and then hope for the best with everybody else. Aberdeen get a point yesterday versus Rangers thanks to VAR again, which we'll talk about in a minute. St Mirren have already taken points off the Old Firm. Kilmarnock taking points off the Old Firm. Hibs are taking points off the Old Firm. Motherwell taking points off the Old Firm. This whole, I keep seeing people kind of saying in the community chat about this, looking at the next round of fixtures and almost wiping out the Old Firm games, just saying, "Oh, we'll no get anything." Need to change that narrative. Everybody else is getting something off the Old Firm. Why the fuck can we know? So there's plenty of positives in there. I thought we'll talk about the game in depth, but the lack of goals at home definitely needs to be addressed. But I agree, Ando. There's definitely green shoots of recovery. One of the big positives, and it's no coincidence that he's found form and it coincides with us being free on the bounce, potentially 4 for on Saturday, is the fact that Lon Shankland again is on the score sheet on Saturday, albeit it's very, very fortunate that he's on the goal, but who cares? In a year's time we'll look back and we won't see that half his heels went in. All we'll see is that he scored his 6th goal in 6 games on Saturday. Tam, he's starting to motor now, isn't he?
Absolutely. I think it helps he's getting played more as the focal point with boys just off him as well. And of course, he scored a great goal for Scotland as well, which I'll celebrate.
Very reminiscent of his header versus Rangers.
Absolutely, yeah.
Which we don't do enough of, if I'm being honest with you. He is very good in the air, and we don't put the ball into the box for him to header. He scored similar header against Rosenborg, headering back across the keeper. So he can do it. We just need to, and we practice. I say it all the time. I watch us practice in the warm-up, Kev, and we put ball into the box after ball into the box, and then do absolutely none of that in the game. It's just crazy. But he's so integral to Hearts right now, Shankland, isn't he?
Yeah, there's nobody else that can fill his shoes at this moment in time. And it's not just what he gives you in front of goal. There was a couple of times on Saturday and past weeks as well. He's very clever in the way in which he will make moves. And what I enjoyed about some of his antics on Saturday was he was getting frustrated and annoyed that he was making those little moves and not getting the ball. Especially given the fact that he'd maybe found a bit of space off the boy. I think his name's Liam. Is it Liam Gordon? He was getting a bit of space from him, but wasn't getting the ball to him quick enough. But just as much of being annoyed that the ball wasn't getting to him, he was also annoyed at others not making additional runs beyond him. I've seen him a couple of times having a go at Oda, and I appreciate that Oda only came on. He was for the last half hour or so, 20 minutes. But there was a couple of times he was telling him, that's a space there. You need to get on and you need to push into that area. So that's part of what I like about Shankland, and I feel that he maybe wasn't doing that kind of thing earlier on in the season as much. But again, that could be down to the fact that we weren't playing him in the same role and asking maybe a little bit more.
I actually think, and we'll come on to one of your pals, he frustrates the living daylights out of me, but he is getting the best out of Shankland is having Liam Boyce play consistently alongside Shankland. You can start to see that they're getting an understanding about each other, aren't they?
Yeah, I think it's when Boyce had come back from injury. I think it's taken them a little while to get motoring, so to speak. But you can see that game by game, week by week, it is getting better to the point where Boyce, if you take Shankland out the picture, then Boyce was obviously one of our main, I suppose, goal threats. But that his role now essentially has completely evolved now that we've got Shankland, and he should be doing the job that he's doing now. And I think if Shankland's success comes at the expense of goals for Boyce, then keep doing it. Like, it's a team game at the end of the day, so that's what needs to happen. But as I say, week by week. Sort of game by game, they are getting better and better. And as long as we can keep Boyce injury free, that's going to be key.
And I actually think, to counter kind of a point that Tam had said, that I actually think that Shankland is better when he's not the focal point. But what I mean by that is he's the focal point as in he gets to play through the middle, but he's not the focal point of play. Whereas if you look to the start of the campaign, we almost desperately looked to him to get him the ball, and no one round about him, no one playing off him, etc. Now he's getting the ball off Boyce in and around areas where he can actually make stuff happen. Like his ball in for Vargas in the second half. Like, that's a tap in at the back post. The keeper actually does really well there to take it away from Vargas or whatever. But that's an unbelievable ball into the box. His ability to link play is great. If you look, we almost scored goal of the season in the opening 5-10 minutes or whatever with the Cochrane shot. When you actually watch it, Shankland's involved in nearly every aspect of that move. Shankland's involved in nearly every aspect of the actual goal, other than getting to have a proper finish on it, other than just clipping him in the heel and going in or whatever. But it's good that he's got Boyce there. Boyce is frustrating, don't get me wrong. Very frustrating. Like, for example, if the ball doesn't hit Shankland on the heels, that's not gone in. The goalkeeper saving that shot. I stand directly behind that shot. I am literally in line with that right hand side post where I stand, section X, and the keeper was saving that. It hit off Shankland and took it over the keeper's hand, and then Boyce had the opportunity like 5 minutes later where it opens up for him again, and he could have slid Shankland in, but he decides to shoot and doesn't get it on target or whatever. But yeah, there's some positives there as well. I think Green shoots a recovery in that aspect. They seem to be building an understanding, which is decent. And again, we need to just soak up and enjoy Shankland, because we're never replacing Shankland. Never. We just won't. There's not enough money. The Celtic are struggling because Kyogo's goals have dried up. You know, they've got O and others that they've brought in to try and score goals. I think Matt O'Reilly's the top goal scorer in the Premier League or whatever currently. I think Shankland's joint second. They're struggling. Rangers spent £6 million on Danilo and money on Dessers and Lammers and all these guys, and they can't score goals. And we've got a guy that's 6 and 6, 7 and 7 if you include the game we got with Scotland or whatever. Like, we have to take that for granted and just have to enjoy him while he's here, I think.
Just looking at it now, Tavernier is top of the goal scoring charts, but that's obviously because of the amount of penalties Rangers get. But then you've got David Turnbull on 7, and then
he's also scored about 4 penalties.
I don't know if this says. But I'll be honest, I don't pay enough attention to them. David
Celtic
Turnbull
penalty taker.
Is he?
He's a Celtic penalty taker.
They've
both had like 8 each.
After that, you got Shankland, Kyogo, and Matt O'Reilly joint third with 6 league goals each. So.
And Shankland hasn't scored a penalty because we've not had one in the league, which brings us on.
You're double fingers.
Because we are such a seamless podcast. On to my next point,
God,
which is again
man. Professional.
Exactly, mate. Nothing but professionalism. Mark fucking Donaldson working for ESPN. Kiss my ass. This is professionalism, donkey. Fuck your Roland Garros and your tennis opens. Get it up, yeah. That was a seamless link. That's how you do it. Kidding on before anybody starts. Podcast was a fucking love. Scarce around the funnel and Laurie and Donkey, so calm down.
Mark, he's a good lad, isn't he? We've had Mark.
He's been on.
Aye.
Well, he tells us his boring stories as Kev. Remember he had his fucking VHS collection. Remember that's where Jugs 14 came from. Remember because he was talking about all his Hearts tapes or whatever it is.
Talking about stories, have you noticed?
I'll tell one in a wee minute.
Related to this anyway.
Another seamless link, Kev.
Thank you.
Saturday again for the second match in a row. Hearts were denied a baffling Stonewall penalty. Kev, we were in Tam, we were all in the stadium live. Now, for example, as soon as Kenny Vargas went down, you knew it was a dive, right? You know, you look at when Shankland's goal went in.
You've got a point about that though as well. The Vargas one. Did you see Campbell's dive yesterday? No booking.
Yes. Yeah. Well, we're coming on it. And then, but like my point is building is that in the stadium, right? When you take away the whole everybody shouts for everything, no foul like that we ever make is an actual foul. Everything's a corner, everything's a handball. Like when you take away the football stuff, the pantomime stuff that you do at football, almost everybody knows Aye, shit, that's a penalty. Or we've got away with that there. That's why I barely celebrated the goal on Saturday, because I was like, that's hit Shankland and he's offside. Like he's in front of the goalkeeper or whatever. And Shankland did it as well. You could see him going, fuck, that's hit me and went over, because it wasn't gone in. And the other side of that stand, that's a penalty. I could see it in real time. You can tell it's a penalty. Kev, Tam, did you have any disagreements watching it live in the stadium?
I wasn't sure.
Myself.
I'll go, Kev.
I was, you know where I sit in Section G. It happened right in my eye line. Probably as much in my eye line as Boyce's shot coming off of Shankland's heel was in your eye line, Corbett. And if I remember rightly, what the Forrest goes down, and he's down for a wee while, but the game carries on, and then all of a sudden, Beaton actually stops the match. Now, Forrest is back up by this point, but there's also a St Johnstone players down. And I'm thinking, he's gone back to get this reviewed and have a look at it for a penalty. Now, the St Johnstone boy that was down didn't have a head knock.
He just stayed down because he know he'd fucked
He'd
it.
actually just... Correct. And from that point of view, you're waiting for it to happen, and absolutely fuck all happens. You're like, what on earth is actually going on? Who's actually, effectively in charge of this football match? Because it definitely
I'll chime in here as well, because while I wasn't at the ground, I did watch it through entirely legal means on Hearts TV. And my first reaction, again, and bearing in mind that the camera probably has the perfect view of it, because it's kind of looking off towards, obviously, the left as you'll see it. It's like looking straight down the barrel of the gun, because Forrest is coming towards the camera. My first instinct was, that's a stonewaller, 100% nailed on.
Well, you can... We've talked about VAR, right? We know that it's no VAR's fault, right? You can't. It's like blaming your computer because you did something wrong. You can't blame it, right? It's the people that are using it that are getting it wrong. So we've spoken about it at length before. We need full-time refs and we need accountability, etc. But and the reason I've said this before, and it's what bugs me about our referees, they can make mistakes, right? That happens. Every single one of us here makes mistakes in life, right? That's what happens. But what can happen is when they guess. I've said that before. You can't just guess what's going on. That's not allowed. You have to either be fully behind your decision. You can't just look at each other and go, free kick that way. Like, you just can't make your mind up. I said it last time for the Boyce one. I'd love to hear the conversations. Well, that's what's next for us. Is I need to, because if they've got genuine, they don't know how to apply the rules of the game, then they need training, they need help, and that would make sense because they're part-time, they're not full-time refs. So, because there are two scenarios on Saturday, Ando, right? What happens, and let's walk through them, right? The defender, if he wins the ball can only go towards the Gorgie Road end because of where he's coming in, right? He's coming in. If he wins the ball is going to go to the Gorgie Road end, right?
Yep.
Alan Forrest is coming that way. So if he wins the ball's going to the wheat field, right? They're the only two scenarios, because Alan Forrest can't score in the position that he's in, and the defender can't take a touch because Alan Forrest and Shankland are right there.
Yep.
So there's only two scenarios. The ball either goes forward towards me and the Gorgie, or it goes right and towards Kev in the wheat field.
Yep.
So, if the referee's watching that and he sees it, what does he think's happened? Because the ball goes towards Kev in the wheat field, which instantly means the defender can't have touched that ball. He physically can't touch the ball. He cannot win the tackle in that way and make the ball go that way. He just can't do it, right? So, that means Alan Forrest has won the ball, which then means there's only two scenarios is what's happened. Is Alan Forrest has won the ball and dived, which is a booking, and stopped the game for a dive because it's simulation, or Alan Forrest has won the ball and been taken out. There is no other in between. There is no other in between there, because even if he does win the ball, takes a couple of steps and then dives, it's still a dive, like Kenny Vargas. He'll be booked because it's a dive. So what are they saying to each other? Because the ref will have said, they say contact, etc. when these things happen, or no contact. Like, that's what they talk to each other. So, as Kev says, is right. If the ref doesn't see it, fine. The ref doesn't see it. Like Tam's
exactly. So
main stand, and he goes, "I'm not sure." Me and Kev are pretty sure. So it's subjective. But the point of VAR is for it to say, right, cool. We think you maybe got that decision wrong. So come and have a look at it for yourself. Watch it again, and you make up your mind. The fact that it doesn't even go to the monitor. So what was said? What conversation was had where they didn't give anything? So they never gave anything. Never gave any of the decisions.
Exactly. So there was none of that. It's like and without you're absolutely right on like the physics / mechanics of it all. Like without go gadget legs, then there's no way that that what you're saying can actually or could have actually happened. But see when you hear the audio that's released by some of the English Premier League guys, and that, to be honest, that's brilliant, right? Because what you actually get there, obviously they don't release every single decision or whatever, but we need that level of accountability in Scottish football because, to your point, it is absolutely correct, which is right. All Beaton has to do is take his eye off. He might have heard a shout or something like that. Whatever, his eye line might have been drawn to something else in that very, very split second, and then when he brings his face back or his eyes back to the incident, Forrest is already on the ground. That is possible, right? Because as you say, everybody makes mistakes. His attention might have been drawn elsewhere for whatever reason. That's when VAR should step in and go, right, John, contact. Right, you've not made the decision there. Right, okay, we're going to have to investigate that because it's a penalty box incident. It's it's not clear and obvious goal scoring opportunity, but it's a penalty box incident. A player's ended up on his arse in the penalty box. That should be reviewed. End of. That is the rules as I understand it. But that didn't happen. So unless Beaton has turned around and said to who was the VAR official, do we know?
Fuck knows.
Whoever it was, right? Whoever he said to, okay, fine, play on, no foul, right? That equally concerning because if he's looked at it and he's that close to it, how can he look at that and say that's not under the laws of the game? How is that not a penalty for everything that you've just said, and also just fucking watching it because you're looking at it and you see a guy get chopped down? I don't know. It beggars belief.
The reason football players, we watch Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher and all that talk about things on a Monday Night Football, etc., or on Match of the Day. They always talk about why refs need to either be ex-pros or have played the game at some level, because just like we knew Kenny Vargas dived, right? Now, if I had my eyes shut for the incident and only opened them up to see the aftermath of the incident, I would have still been like, well, that's not a penalty for two reasons. One, the reaction of the St Johnstone players, and two, the reaction of the Hearts players. That if that was a penalty and they thought that, and Hearts thought that was a Stonewall penalty has been brought, they would have been apoplectic with rage. Every one of them just kind of stuck up for their teammate for getting hangweed. Shankland kind of gave him a
shrug,
a finger wave.
Someone,
thing.
And I can't remember who it was, kind of just gives him a half-hearted sort of shrug of the shoulders towards the lines, in the direction of the linesman, and kind of goes,
Shankland
like
told him to turn round so he could get booked, because I watched it. Told him, he was like, you're getting booked. He booked him, and then he kind of, when he got booked and he was walking back, Shankland shouted on him and went like that. But I knew because of the reaction of the players. Without VAR, how did I know that the Motherwell goal at Tynecastle was standing? Well, I told you, the number one reason and the number one indicator that your centre halves are fucked up is because they do that. They go offside. That's the, oh shit, I've made an arse yet. I didn't have to see VAR. I knew he was onside because Kai Rouse was standing with his hand up in there. I knew that. And it was the same. You can tell on the pitch. Kev, you talked about that. The guy stayed down. If Craig Levine would have been screaming for the touchline, stay down, because like that's the number one. Stay down, pretend you're injured. That's what the reaction of the players is. Try and do anything to no draw attention to the fact that we could have just got away with one here.
I'm still, even tonight, even just now, I've seen an interesting stat over the weekend in regards to a few of the actual referees we've got in Scotland, and it's actually alarming of how bad they actually are. You look at, I think it was Nick Walsh was one. 8 games he's had this season, and there's 36 yellow cards.
Right.
Beaten 7 games, 37 yellow cards. It's like, and then, I think it was Barry Robson said yesterday that it is getting alarming. You know perfectly well that there's going to be a penalty coming along. And as we've said, and I know you asked the question as well around, when was the last time you seen Hearts get 2 penalties in the one game? Which I think was the Celtic Hearts game last season, the 4-3 game.
First game of VAR.
And then the next time in the Premier League was when we beat Motherwell 6-0. Robbie Nielsen in 2016. Oh, crazy. And Celtic and Rangers have had it in the last 3 weeks. They've been 3 of their games where they've had 2 penalties in their games.
Good.
Crazy.
Goes back to what Naismith said though as well. What does he say?
Yep.
Like they'll always go for the penalty if it's the Old Firm, whereas it's us it'll go to VAR. It's the assumption that
not VAR is the case.
I've said he talks all the shit. Naismith's after the game comments on Saturday were bollocks, right? He's becoming Robbie-esque with how shite he talks after football matches. But what he said after the semi-final was right, and we spoke about it. When it comes to the Old Firm, they get every single on-field decision that goes in their favour. They get every tight marginal offside. They'll be flat. The flag will stay down. It'll go in their favour. Every marginal penalty decision, they'll get it. We've spoke about it, and it's annoying because their penalty technically, yesterday, is a penalty. Same with the Peter Haring one. It's annoying. It's that they are technically penalties.
How often do you see that? Exactly.
Every single fucking game. And again, you look at Celtic on the Saturday. They've missed the penalty. They are 0-0 at home in Motherwell, playing utter shite, and they need a decision, and they get a decision, and they get a penalty. Same with Rangers. It's on the 90th minute. They've played utter shite. They've got the opportunity to close the gap on Celtic, win both their games in hand to cut the gap back to 3. They are 5 minutes away from dropping 3 points. They need a decision. And again, you look at Saturday, Hearts get a penalty early on. They could go on and win that game comfortably. Do you know what I mean? The referee has the decision to make because there's the St Johnstone guy gets sent off as well. A foul inside the box. There are plenty of things. But again, it's no coincidence that Stephen Naismith made those comments. And in our last 2 games, we've become the first team in Scotland to have the referee be called to the monitor and for the referee to stick with his on-field decision and not overturn it. And then we had Shankland's penalty against Motherwell later on in that game, and then we've had Forrest's penalty on Saturday. It's criminal, and we can't just keep it accepting it. Like I think Rangers are now 70 games without conceding a penalty in the Premier League.
Just to caveat as well, understand they've obviously got more of the ball in the opposition box and all that, but when you see the actual decisions lined up side by side, you're
telling me in the 70 games that Rangers have played, given how shite VAR is with handball decisions, the Connor Goldson penalty yesterday you're telling me there hasn't been a single game in which the ball's hit a Rangers player in the hand, or where a Rangers player's held a jersey or whatever, to go 70 games in the Premier League and not concede a penalty. It's nearly 3 seasons worth of football. That's crazy. That is absolutely mental, and no one talks about it. And again, we just spoke about it there. Celtic last season was the last time Hearts had 2 penalties in one game. The next time in the Premier League, in the top flight, we had 2 penalties in the same game, was in 2016. 7 years ago. Celtic got 2 penalties on Saturday. Rangers got 2 penalties the following Saturday, or the Saturday after before, and they got 2 penalties the Saturday before. It's crazy. It's absolutely mental. And folk have to start genuinely looking at these things because it makes a massive difference.
And see, when you look at it,
Old Firm, but to Aberdeen could have closed the gap to us yesterday. Do you know what I mean? Those 3 points are invaluable to Aberdeen.
It's like, if you look at, and this only really seems to be Scotland where it's a problem, right? So I know VAR, warts and all, has its issues down south as well, right? But you never really hear, I didn't want to do the whole tinfoil hat conspiracy thing, but Well, because I appreciate I was away there for a minute, but like no one seems to get targeted specifically down in England, right? So like you don't see Man City not getting penalties awarded for them. It seems to be fairly liberal and equal in its implementation down south. That just doesn't happen up here. It's just it's absolutely.
But see, Ando down south, they have to declare what football team. They have to declare what football team they support, or if they have any affiliation to football teams, they have to declare it, and they don't, and they're not allowed to ref matches which involve teams that they are affiliated with.
I didn't know that. So, for example, when you say affiliated to, are you talking about like you maybe when you had a season ticket when you were 15 at Brentford?
You were, like when you were a wee boy, you grew up supporting Man United, right? Or whatever. So you didn't get to you don't get to ref Man United games.
Fair enough.
I mean, or like, I think there is one. This is an old stat. I don't know if it's still true now. I think there is only one referee that isn't based in Greater Glasgow. I think there is only one registered referee from the Lothians.
That's crazy.
So this is you want tinfoil hat? Let's get some theme music. It's been ages since we had any theme music. Let's get a Corbett's tinfoil corner.
I'm going to play some UFO alien music over this in the background. Don't worry. We'll add that in post. But actually, here's the thing, right? And just before you go on about that, I remember back in the day that they used to say the referee, where the referee was from, like that had some sort of fucking difference. It's like Hugh Dallas from Bonkle, wherever the fuck Bonkle is. But that was always a thing that they made a point of. Because the referee that hates Hearts the most in all of recorded history is Les Mottram, and I'll fight anybody that says otherwise. But it's one of those things. I genuinely didn't know that most of the referees are based in Glasgow. That's mental in and of itself.
So the gym trainer stuff was obviously, my family's connected, or was connected to the trainers years ago, right? And him and his brother writing for the Herald and the sports stuff or whatever. When Rangers are one of the stars on the Champions League badge, they were one of the original teams for the Champions League, right? So at that time, Scotland didn't have any graded refs, right? So when World Cups and European Cups and UEFA's and Champions Leagues and all these things get Scottish referees, and they never went because they weren't graded high enough to be part of the system or whatever. So the only way that they could get, the SFA could get to these things, get to UEFA, introduce themselves, do their network, and that was when Celtic or Rangers were in the Champions League or away in European things. And that's what David Murray's succulent lamb stuff's all about. Do you know when you used to do it with the press? He'd say, right, Ando, we're playing Galatasaray on Wednesday night in the Champions League. Come over. We'll fly you on the plane. So you sit up the front, business class, whatever, with David Murray and the chief executives at Rangers, etc., etc. They feed you some snippets. Oh, we're signing Gaza on Saturday, etc. You get the exclusive for the Herald, all that sort of stuff. Cool. You're on Sportsound on Saturday, and you say the referees rubbish. Rangers got away with one there. That was a dodgy decision, etc., etc., etc. Suddenly, right, Kev, we're playing Monaco on Wednesday. Do you want to come on the plane? By the way, here's a wee story about Rino Gattuso that's signing for us next Saturday. Suddenly, Ando is in the cold. Right, cool. Ando, you're no longer getting the editor phones you up to say you're no longer writing headlines for the back pages. I want you to go watch Tam play five-a-sides with his mate on a Wednesday night and give him some column fillers. Kev, you've got the back page. Gives the story. Cool, Kev, for a year, gives nothing but pro Rangers stories. Cool, you stay the headline, right? No, Kev, say something that speaks out of phrase at Rangers. Suddenly it's Tam shot, right? You're now top boy. That's what used to happen with the refs. That's what used to happen with the SFA officials. They used to go on the flights. Cool, you give, right, Kev, you're the referee on Saturday. You give Aberdeen. You don't give the penalty via Aberdeen. Cool. You're not on the flight. You're not on the flight to Madrid on the Wednesday. I'll bring Ando. Cool. And you don't have to say you're not coming, Kev, because you got that decision wrong. But you watch Ando and his career go where it needs to go, and he's getting UEFA gigs because Ando gives the decision. Ando doesn't send Goldson off. Ando gives the penalty. You're froze out. So what do? The next time you play Rangers or Celtic, guess what? Oh, I'll give a friendly decision their way. And so you don't have to, you're not colluding, you don't have to be told what to do, but you're no stupid and you're no daft.
Grace
you know
Wales.
that's what happens, and that's where they go. So you don't think that Peter Lawwell and the Celtic executives, when they're away in the Champions League, aren't they meeting SFA delegates or taking people for the SFA over? So the champions of Scotland are going to go and play the champions in Spain, and the SFA or the association of the country that they're in isn't going to go over to that game. They aren't going to be at the top table talking about what's happening, etc., etc. Do you know what I mean? That's how it works. That is how it works.
It's very good now that you've said that, because it's like you're talking about the inner machinations that no one ever really thinks about. But if you think about it, like exactly that, right? So the champions of Scotland are going to go and play the champions of fucking Italy or whatever. The SFA can't justify spending the money to send someone over to go and be a sort of impartial observer at that game and represent Scotland. Now that you've said that out loud, aye.
But look at, and then they have the media is a branch of what they do. So look at what was it, Dougie McDonald? Remember at Celtic Dundee United in Dundee?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And he admitted that he made a mistake, didn't he? He got the decision wrong or whatever. He never reffed again. He quit because the media had such a pile on him. Remember I think they released the conversation, what was said between him and the fourth official and all that, and he admitted that he lied or he got it wrong on the field, and they got the transcripts and all that out. How many times have you read Stephen Gerrard after the game come in and say, oh, Dougie McDonald came in and said sorry, he got that decision wrong. Brendan Rodgers coming in, like the one where Mikey Smith with the handball at Tynecastle or whatever, or the Jamie Walker one actually. Brendan Rodgers' first game in charge, wasn't it? He dived. Jamie Walker won it. Scott Sinclair scored in the last minute. Jamie Walker dived. We got a penalty. Hearts went 1-0 up. But Celtic won 2-1. And he says, the referee, Brendan Rodgers said, the ref came in and apologised that he got it wrong. Right, well, where the fuck's the ref coming in and apologising to Stephen Naismith for getting it wrong? Why the fuck is the ref chapping on the door and saying, oh, sorry, I got that wrong? Like, it doesn't happen to anybody else. Barry Robson didn't get a chat on the door. Do you know what I mean? And that's how it works.
And I can remember Jim Goodwin giving a radio interview towards his latter days at Aberdeen, where he'd said he'd went to approach the referee after the game, and the referee refused to speak to him. He's like, no, that's it. Well, I'm not speaking to you. I don't have to. So off you go. Like
that's how it works. That's how it works. You step out, you give them the wrong decisions, etc., etc. Then suddenly, I told you before. I used to go European matches every other Thursday at Ibrox because of Scotty, and I seen Bobby Madden gone into the games, gone in, sit in the director's box and all that type of shit. The week later he's got Rangers games. It's how it works. It's you don't bite the hand that feeds you, and the fact that it was a running joke in our press for so long, the whole succulent lamb stuff, that's exactly what they talk about. We already had it. We've experienced it firsthand with the pandemic season. We know that we know there was WhatsApp's conversations saying that no, this is how I'm voting, etc., etc. We know that calls were made to Dundee to force them to change their vote. We know that they got loan players for Celtic and money and pre-seat. We know all that, and nobody done anything about it. Nobody questioned it because Celtic needed to win 9 in a row so that they could chase 10 in a row and know of the season null and void. And what they wanted to happen happened. And you can say once, twice is a mistake for the ref, that's cool. But when you see it every week, and like you said, when they need decisions, they get decisions. Yes, they attack more. Yes, they have more possession. I don't disagree with any of that stuff. But Rangers weren't attacking, putting Aberdeen under huge amounts of pressure yesterday. They were absolutely rank rotten. But when they needed dugout and they needed a decision, they got a decision that happens in every single box, for every corner, every long throw, every free kick. It happens every single time. And you watch, we won't get one on Saturday. Kilmarnock won't get one on Saturday. And that's genuinely what drives me insane about VAR. So
Right.
there we go. You can play out the tinfoil hat exit music.
My mate mentioned exactly the same thing. I'm struggling to find the message to, but basically said that it's a continuing thing. And to be honest, I don't pay attention enough to Celtic and Rangers games. It's like I'm aware of the result or whatever. I don't always watch the highlights, etc., etc. But he said that he'd noticed that exactly as well, which is like the ball is coming in from a set piece or a corner or whatever. That is almost a rehearsed play. Is that, can you go and have a look at that next time you speak about it on here? I was like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to watch Rangers and Celtic games. But you've mentioned it as well now, so he's clearly not just talking shit. But my question back, right, would be, how do you fix it? Like, and we talk about making referees professional, right? That doesn't fix it. But you've got the government are talking about bringing in. I don't know if this is only just for the Premier League or whatever, but they're talking about bringing in. Or it might have been signed off already. Someone could correct me here. About bringing in like an independent regulator for football. I don't know if that's only going to apply in England, but that
it won't apply here. It's too difficult. And this, honestly, if you go back and decipher some of the ramblings of Vlad, right, take all the noise away. Vlad was shouting for the rooftops about this for the start. But he was also shouting about financial fair play. He was talking about side deals, which turned out to be EBTs ages ago, about these teams can't afford these players, but they're signing them. They talked about referees. They talked about, all this stuff, and it's deeply ingrained. How do you fix it? Because it's not just referees. You look at, and I know we laughed and joked about it before, but we've got our own players sitting in our changing room watching the Old Firm before the game starts. We've got one of our own players talks weekly about the Old Firm and panders to their fans. It's so deep rooted it becomes impossible. And again, that's one. If you actually listen to what Vlad said about why he got rid of George Burley and all that, it wasn't because they drew 1-1 at Celtic. It was because he was happy at drawing 1-1 at Celtic, as if it was like, no, you can't expect to come here and win. And that's what Craig Gordon and Paul Hartley and Robbie Nielsen and Stephen Presley all said the same stuff. Oh, no, boss, you didn't win the league here at Celtic or Rangers. If we could finish second, that would be a brilliant achievement. He's going, no, I don't want to finish second. We've spent millions of pounds. I want to win the league. And he realised that actually, this is deep rooted. This is a cultural thing. Like, everyone is so just. It's ensconced in everybody that Celtic and Rangers are the only people that can be successful in Scotland. You look at everything. They control the media. They control the written press, the spoken press. TV deals are catered to Celtic and Rangers. The voting system is catered to Celtic and Rangers. OIT is to make sure that they... OIT is to make sure that they are better. There is not a single deal on the table, whether it be sponsorship, TV deal or anything, that is catered to anybody but Celtic and Rangers. But anyway...
Another thing is, sorry, just to label this, but did you see he put a Lawwell statement at the Celtic, whatever it was, event last week, basically saying that, we are basically not competitive in Europe anymore because of, budgets and all that sort of stuff. The richer clubs are getting richer and we can't keep up with them. I'm like, right, okay, that's fine. That works for you when you're looking at your failures, yet you won't entertain that as an argument when the rest of Scotland comes fucking battering down your door to try and change the system to get a better deal for them. It's the ultimate hypocrisy.
Well, they're going to push. They'll be pushing some form of transatlantic league. That's what that's always been their goal, is to have something like that anyway. But anyway, that's enough tinfoil conspiracy theories. Tune in next week for Why Water is Wet. Tam, anything exciting on YouTube?
Bobby McBobbin making a good point about how Andrew Dallas got the refereeing job that he's got at the moment. I suppose that kind of...
Yep. Let's end this by saying again, like we spoke about there, the toy drive, obviously loads donated, so thanks to everybody that helped through the podcast and donated, everybody that got involved. Well done to the Ultras and all that stuff as well for getting it sorted, and fair play to the St Johnstone Ultras as well. I can't remember what they're called, Fair City Ultras or some shit like that, but they came and donated money they came and donated money in that as well. So fair play, fair's fair. Right, let's talk about the good stuff. Let's talk about the game on Saturday.
Is that only just headlines?
I know. Use date, mate. You let the rabbit out of the hat, and I can't help myself. I fucking spiral down so many.
Haggling a carrot.
I'm on a red eye tomorrow, man. Come on. It's getting late. I'm only kidding. Carry on. I'm here for it.
Well, let's talk about St Johnstone then, Tam. Any shocks pre-match, changes to the team, or anything like that?
I think it was expected. The only other thing you could have said, maybe Simic at right back. I suppose Grant starting instead of Neuenhoff was a bit of a surprise. And to be honest with you, having Grant and Lowry, I don't think that works for me. Neuenhoff was better when he came on.
Actually,
than Grant.
I agree with you. That was the only disappointment thing. I'm hoping that he had an injury because he's actually been decent. I think he was unlucky, Kev, to drop out on Saturday.
Yeah, my only thought was maybe I think he'd been away playing with the Australian under-23 Olympic thing, and I don't know where he had been playing, so maybe the flight back was maybe late. I don't know. Other than that,
that's fucking worse than Vida League football. The fucking Olympic under-23s game. Jesus,
something stupid like that. Aye.
What a fucking waste.
I think that was the only strange one for me. Was Grant to come in. I still think it's very strange to put Kingsley at the right hand side of that back three, but it does seem to be working. Other than the fact that we maybe don't move the ball as quickly down that side of the park at the moment.
Aye. Did he play at the right hand side?
Aye.
Yeah.
He played at the right hand side, and there was a couple of times that you wanted him to play a quick ball where he's right down the line, but of course he would cut inside to put it in his left and then play that sort of ball to Forrest. And it was just, I think sometimes it just slowed us down at certain points of the game. And you know that's one of my biggest bugbears currently. But anyway, that's no bother about it.
I thought Neuenhoff was unfortunate to drop out. But Andel, we've spoke about continuity and being able to pick your strongest 11 or whatever. We've got a bit of continuity at the back, and again we've got another clean sheet, and our defensive record is actually pretty decent. So are you changing that for Saturday, or you keep it as is?
It depends, I suppose, on the reason for the changes. I'm always an advocate of don't change a winning team. We know that. I'm not going to labour that, but I'll be honest. I think you keep the same team on Saturday for Kilmarnock. I don't see why you would change it. And even, you know what, like anyone that didn't have a particularly good game, stick them on the bench. But nah, I don't know. I'm undecided. Nah, fuck it. Keep the same team.
One change for me after Saturday. Forrest drops out. He had a shocker on Saturday, to be honest with you. But
did he have a shocker?
He's been decent recently.
I
don't know. I just think
did he have a shocker, or is he a right wing back? Did we sign him as a right wing back?
There is that.
Is he supposed to play as a right wing back?
Yeah, their left wing back, whoever he was, Phillips or something. He had him on toast, but unfortunately, Oder came on and made a difference as well, I suppose. But
so I thought Hearts were comfortable on Saturday. I get that at points we were slow. I agree with Kev, but we've been like that for ages. All right, we know that. I think we have to acknowledge that St Johnstone will be fine. St Johnstone are not going to get relegated. All right, Craig Lean is a good manager. I think he'll do well for St Johnstone. After the move that Cochrane almost scored, he instantly changed St Johnstone, changed the way they were, shut down that side, moved Stevie May over, and they almost doubled up on that side where Cochrane was, and Cochrane stopped being involved in the game. And then again, then you're looking at, right, so all of the onus becomes on Alan Forrest, right? Go do something. I think Alan Forrest then has to play off Lowry. I think Lowry had... Excuse me. I don't think Lowry had a good game. Benny is in there as to win the ball and give it to someone. So you look where you're then thinking, right, where are we getting our pace from in our play? and I'm not. Alan Forrest didn't have a good game on Saturday. I think he played well, but I think there's factors that have to be taken in. And Kev, right now, that right hand side is the only, not weakness. That's not true, but it's the only headache I have right now. I think everywhere else seems pretty settled and seems sensible what we're doing there, but the right hand side is a bit of a problem, isn't
it? Yeah. I think everybody that's gone along over the last 5 or 6 weeks knows perfectly well that's the one side of that's the one area that you need to address come the January transfer window, and I think the club have actually come out and said that is their be all and end all is finding the right balance and the right players for that particular position. So we know perfectly well that that's not Toby Sibbick's role. That's not his position at all. We've spoken at length about that in the past few weeks. I think we also know that it's not Forrest's position neither. So there's definitely work to be done around finding the right player to fit into that position, because for all that we will talk about it shortly, Halkett will come back at some point this season, but it won't come back as the same player. It will take no doubt, we've seen it from Benny, as you just said, it'll take him probably actually to pre-season in the summer to actually get back to maybe somewhere close to where he's been.
Yeah.
So it's a big ask, and it's a job that needs to be filled, because I think the boy Ofaya has gone back to Brighton permanently now, isn't he?
Yeah, he's done. But I think we're screaming out for Atkinson to be there.
Definitely.
We genuinely missed Atkinson on that side of the park. But Tam, we talk about how impatient Hearts are. Like, I get annoyed when Hearts fans are like this, because I'm on like fuck about Hearts all the time. I'm on about when we didn't do the basics and all that sort of stuff. But you have to acknowledge how the game went. Other than the ball hitting off Xander Clark's face, which comes, by the way, from Alan Forrest on the other side of the park, and then Benny, just putting the ball out, try to be stupid and bring the ball down and losing it. Can you think any other chances that they had where you thought, oh shit, they're going to score?
Carry? Nah, I know. Apparently they had 3 shots on target, but I don't remember 3 of them.
Everything else they fed off. They had a wee spell for 5 minutes in the first half after that where Clark made a good save, where they actually got, was it Smith who was number 22?
Yep.
They managed to get him in and behind us, and he actually was having a good game. But then Hearts shuffled, and we managed to sort of snuff that out. And then every other chance that they had was exactly the type of thing you would expect St Johnstone chances to look like, and Hearts were comfortable with it. They were long balls into the box, crosses, corners, couple of headers that were easy for Clark or went wide and stuff. At no point on Saturday, I watched most of the Hearts games like this.
I did see that again on Saturday.
I think I only did that once, and then when I looked up, the ref had already blew for full time, and I was like, "Is that it?" And normally I'm like biting my fingernails. Hearts were genuinely comfortable on Saturday. We have to acknowledge that St Johnstone, like you said, Tam, and one of the things actually that Nacy said after the game I do agree with was that teams now know how dangerous we can be and are coming to Tynecastle not pressing us. So if you think at how Kilmarnock and Motherwell played when they came to Tynecastle, they pressed us, they got at us, and it really caused us problems. St Johnstone never pressed us on Saturday. St Johnstone were comfortable letting us have the ball, because as long as the game goes long, the longer the game goes, is what I'm trying to say, if I was sensible and could say sentences, the more you engage the fans. Craig Levein knows that. I spent 4 years booing the cunt. He knows that that's what happens at Tynecastle. So the longer that they can keep it 0-0, play a low block, engage the crowd, getting them annoyed, then that's going to grow them in confidence. You also can't ignore the fact that we should have the penalty. The penalty kills the game. I think they go down to 10 men if we get that penalty, because it's a sending off. So I get it. I get that we're not playing tantalising, unbelievable, high-pace, aggressive football, but we're winning football matches against teams that are dog shit. Something that we'd struggled today. booing and shit. It's just daft. We've got to sing a song. The atmosphere was fucking torture on Saturday. Imagine being a player and playing in that. It's absolutely terrible. And I think, and I'm not just saying it because I sit in the ultras or whatever, but they don't sing. Nobody sings. I couldn't tell you if I heard N or G start a song the whole game on Saturday. And it's like, again, we've spoken about it, it's gladiator syndrome, innit? We show up on a Saturday, we sit our arses on the ground, and we go, right, fucking entertain us. Right, 5 minutes gone, this is shite. This isn't entertaining. So I'm not going to get behind you. I'm not going to encourage you. I'm just going to moan and groan at every single backwards pass where we keep possession, etc., etc. So I don't think we played bad on Saturday. I don't think it was tantalising football, but
first 10-15 were class, though. To be honest,
and I thought
we started well.
Yeah, I thought the first 20 minutes were good. Then there was a bit of a. When it hit Clark in the face, there was a bit of pressure facing Johnstone, but that faded out pretty quickly. And then I didn't think we were under any real pressure in the second half. Opening 5 minutes or whatever, we were a bit leggy. We kind of get the goal at a good time to change the momentum, but after the goal, we were never in any real danger, to be honest. But Ando, they're the games that they build your season, because you look at the games like we missed out on third last year by 3 points. I look at Livingston away, we drew 0-0. Remember, was it Oda missed an absolute sitter in that game? Was it his first game for us or something? He missed an absolute sitter across the face of the goal. Missed it. Even at the first one where they beat us 1-0 at Livy, you get Cool missed 2 absolute sitters as well. You look at 97th minute equaliser at home to Livy by Gino. These are the games that kill your season, and on Saturday we did what was needed.
It's if you can get out of jail, get out of Dodge with the 3 points, then it doesn't really matter. Let's be honest. It's like the whole, everybody wants to go to football and be wowed by flair play and beat 5 or 6-0. But I think given the sort of tough period that we've been through, you'll take a victory by hook or by crook. It doesn't matter how you get there. Right, just get the victory, because it's important for the football club overall to get into Europe and be fighting. And just like this season's a write-off, right? We're never going to set the heather alight. I think all we need to do now is make sure we qualify for a European place, and that's exactly what we've done on Saturday. Is exactly what you need to do in order to achieve that. It's just grind out results, and then regroup. Maybe next season will be better. I'm conscious that's very doom and gloom, by the way, but it's just kind of where I'm at for this season so far.
Anything else catch your eye on the game on Saturday, Tim?
I'll tell you what caught my eye. Your dad's just called you a happy clapper in the comments, which is great. So.
Nah, okay. He texts me saying the same
thing. What I would say, we do need to find a way, which it's hard to say this because I think this is the right formation to get the best out of our players, but we need some way to get some pace in our team, and I don't know where that comes. I think we've got Oda, Vargas, Tagawa on the bench. It'd be nice to include some width, because with Lowry coming inside, Grant playing off, Boyce playing off, Shankland, and then Forrest and Cochrane on the wings. There's not much, but I don't know how you do that. Personally,
Kev, we've had this conversation before. I've said before that you don't have to be fast to play with pace. It's about making faster passes, not taking a touch, miss a man out, etc. You look at the Cochrane chance in the first half. That was snappy. That was in, lay off, in, movement, sharp, moving, all that sort of stuff. And that's when we're at our fluent best. We're very, very good in those spaces. But again,
Nunehov's good at that as well, because he does that sort of we drive, pass. He moves the ball well. And I did like that a bit when he came on.
But look at Rangers at Aberdeen on Sunday. Look at Celtic at home to Motherwell. Just because that's how you want to play football, there's no God-given right that you should be allowed to do that. It's hard. You're up against 11 other players. If they want to sit in low block and are happy to get a 0-0, we've been managed by Craig Levein. We know fine well if they could have walked into the changing room before the match and says, right, shake hands, I'll take a 0-0, he'd have took it. And left David Martindale the exact same, he would have took it. And that's where it's on Hearts to be quicker, a bit braver. I think I agree that Benny can slow the play down, but so can Lowry, so can Kingsley, so can Cochrane. And it's that stuff that focusing on just get the ball forward. But who? What do you mean get the ball forward? If there's no movement in front of you, what do you do? Just give them the ball.
Right. That was my biggest gripe when I was having that rant yesterday morning. Is that it was the fact that there was so many times that there was nothing happening in front of them, and then when something did happen, the player who was receiving the ball had their back to the St Johnstone goal. So it's always then difficult to turn or to make another pass other than the pass that's actually obvious, which is in front of you, going back towards the Hearts goal. And that was what I think frustrated a lot of people on Saturday.
Yeah, as well. But you've also got to look, how did St Johnstone get their one clear-cut chance? It was getting the ball wide and getting in behind us and cutting the ball back. What, do Hearts just ignore that? Like what we did with Daniel Stendhal? Do we just ignore the defensive side of it and say, well, fuck it, they might score, we'll try and score too, etc. Like Hearts were sensible in what they were doing on Saturday. They believed in themselves, which is good. They trust the process. They felt like they could score, which they did, so they get away with it. But they also have to be, that Hearts had to react to St Johnstone. St Johnstone got some chances. Like I said, although I never felt we were under any pressure, but it's not just about getting forward and attacking. You've got to take into consideration defending. Playing free at the back leaves you massively open wide, especially if Cochrane and Forrest go. If they're up attacking, then you've got three centre halves. They're playing free up front. They're playing the same formation as us. They can, if they get the ball over the top and get the ball out wide, they're in behind. Do you know what I mean? So I think Saturday was just a combination of the fact that we are still not nervous. I think we're still tentative that, let's be honest, right? We're one draw defeat away from the noise comes back. Do you know what I mean? Because that's where we're at. So you have to slowly build momentum, and that's what we're doing. So I get that you're right, Kev. We can be notoriously slow at points, but we got the job done on Saturday. And for me,
3 points.
Right this very second, that's all that mattered. If we didn't win on Saturday, St Mirren won. We'd have been 5 points behind St Mirren. We're now 2 points behind St Mirren. If we win on Saturday, St Mirren are playing Rangers. You have to take the points.
Annoyingly, they've got a game tomorrow, eh? You see that against County?
Is that like one of their
one fixture?
They got a game.
They're on the same games as us, but I don't know what it's cost to.
It might be similar to the Levy Dundee game that was brought forward just because it eases fixture congestion. So if the two clubs agree, the game can be moved forward if there's availability for it.
But again, you roll into the next match. We know the next stretch of fixtures will determine what we do in the season. You're looking at, we've got every game we play is a 6-pointer. So as it stands right now, if Kilmarnock win on Saturday, beat us, they join us in the same points. They're only 3 points behind us. So you win, we get 3 points, but more importantly, we take 3 points away from them being able to get 3 points. Then we play Aberdeen, same situation again. Not only can we get 3 points, but we can take 3 points away from them. Same with Hibs, same with St Mirren. Yeah, and then the Celtic and Rangers games take care of themselves. We should be looking to try and take 3 points off Rangers at Tynecastle. I've said that 1,000 times. And if Motherwell can go to Celtic Park and get a draw, then we should be looking to do similar. You got to be positive. You've got to go into those things and try and get the results.
Where are you overall? One for you, Corbett, and then everybody else, I suppose. Are you arrow up or arrow down just now? Do you look at the exactly that run of fixtures and think, we'll be fine. We'll do pretty well, or are you looking at that run of fixtures and then the Old Firm games and then going, oh fuck, we're on a hiding here?
I'm where I'm always at with Hearts is it's the away games that will determine what we do. You know, you look at our home games are Rangers, St Mirren, and then Ross County or something. So you're maybe looking at, if we get 9 from 9, brilliant. It's probably realistically going to be 6 from 9, given where we're at. So then you look and say, right, well, we've got Kelly, Aberdeen, Hibs, and Celtic away. Like, where are you getting your points there? Do you know what I mean? So
Hibs.
I'm in the middle. Again, Saturday becomes massive. If we lose on Saturday and Hibs win, we're behind Hibs. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is the games tumble into each other. This little roll that we're on right now, if we are third at the end of this run of fixtures, then we'll finish third at the end of the season. That's where we're at. But we are just as capable of slipping to 8th or 9th, given Hearts go in this peaks and troughs all the time.
It's a coin flip, innit?
We just need to level it. Cool. Well, let's wrap it up because we've been here for ages. Let's do our Kelly previews. Use your scores on the door. So Ando, away to Kilmarnock on Saturday. Sure prediction.
I genuinely go there and hope. I think Kilmarnock in a game against them in the League Cup recently, fair enough, but there were signs there that maybe worried me a little bit. I'm going to say it'll be a hard fought 1-0 for us. I think we'll do it.
Tam?
I actually go the opposite. I'll go 1-0 Kelly. Just fight with their home record. I think it's like the second best in the league behind Celtic.
Well, you're not coming back.
They've not won a game. They've not got a game away yet. So yeah, I think they won.
And I'll do a Corbett. I'll sit on the fence. I think when you're playing on that plastic surface, I think from that point of view, I think we also sometimes look like we struggle on that plastic. So from that point of view, I'll go with a 1-1 draw.
I'll go the Desmond. I'm going 2-2. I don't think we'll win, but I'll be surprised if we get beat. But then it is Hearts.
Would you not say though if we score 2, we'd only concede 2?
What do you mean?
I think if Hearts were to score 2 in that sort of 2-2 scenario, I think we don't concede at the moment 2 goals.
Well, I can see us having. I can see us salvaging a 2-2 rather than thrown away.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? That's where I would go. Christian Doidge, plastic pitch, balls into the box, Derek McInnes. We'll be seeing some real shoots. We'll be seeing some real shoots of recovery if we walk away from Kelly Park unscathed, because it's got Hearts written all over it. It's
a horrible place to go.
It's got
2 injuries, something like that.
red card, injuries, horrible. Anything on YouTube before we call it quits?
Yeah, probably. Sorry, I've not really been keeping up with it. Fraser Adair made a good question earlier, but we're talking about bringing someone in the right-hand side defence. He was just saying, who do we offload? Do you bring in another player? Would you keep Simic as a midfielder or centre defender under? Or is he surely surplus to requirements at that point?
I think Toby Simic is a decent squad player. Do I think we need more than that? Probably. I'd actually quite like to just move some players on just to freshen the place up a bit. You look at the majority of the spine of how we finished third in 2022, 2021, whatever it was, still there. You're still looking at Benny and Devlin in the middle of the park. You're still looking at Halkett and Gordon and Kingsley. You're still looking at Barry Mackay. And to be honest, we haven't really kicked on since then. So I think you're looking at your Hallidays, maybe even your Devlins, these guys moving on. Cammy Devlin comes on for 10 minutes at the end of the game. It's quite clear that Neuenhoff is the preferred midfielder at the moment. In there, I wouldn't be surprised if we lose George Grant potentially. So, I always err on the side as I'd rather have a smaller squad, and have it really competitive than have just a big squad for the sake of having a big squad. And look, Aberdeen are living testament to that as well. They brought in big numbers in the summer to deal with the European fixtures, and I think they're 4 points off the bottom of the league. So, aye, that's where I'm at.
And I guess some of those players as well, in themselves, will want to play regular football. Civic, Grant.
Yep.
As you rightly say, Halliday must be one as well that wants to play regular football. And if he's not getting it at Tynecastle, then he will have to look elsewhere. So I would agree with what you've said there, Corbett.
Cool. Anything else, Tam?
All good.
Cool.
All done.
Right, thanks to everybody on YouTube. I appreciate it. Even though Tam's absolutely useless at interacting with you and reading the questions, we do enjoy.
Yeah, I've been garbage, Tam. Yeah, I'll second Corbett
I've read
on
some of the comments on my phone. It's Tam.
Well, why don't you answer them then?
Well, I'm trying to run this fucking shit show of a podcast. You've got one fucking job. Buckethead.
Okay.
Oh dear.
Anyway,
Well, you say an orange on the top of a needle earlier, so that was it.
Yeah, orange on a toothpick.
Brilliant.
We'll do a reaction on Sunday. Hopefully, celebrating 4 wins out of 4, and potentially sitting third in the league, or we'll be sitting behind Hibs and I'll be fucking raging and this room will be on fire. Either way, it'll be enjoyable. It'll be enjoyable.
Can't wait, man. See you then.
Right, Trips. Thanks, everybody.
Cheerio.
See you later.
Gorgero.